Morning, everybody. Come on in. Good morning. Tyrone Bowman live. I have said consistently on my program that none of this political coverage that I do is personal with me. I deal with facts and facts only. So my program is I deal with um, coverage of things that's already made public, and I bring commentary and analysis and my own personal views along the line. Some time ago, I did a piece called Lies and Distortion uh, in a press conference that former President Trump had. Now, it is Kamala Harris's turn. I found an interesting article in CNN entitled Fact Check. Harris campaign social media account has repeatedly deceived with misleading edits and captions. I just deal with truth the way truth comes across. I don't favor the Republicans or the Democrats, but if Harris is going to run a campaign, you've got to run it with decency, run it with accuracy, run it with facts, not misleading people down the wrong path. In order to win the election, uh, you don't have to stoop to the debauchery of lying and deceiving people. All right, now let's get into this and let's talk about what's going on with the Harris campaign. According to CNN, a social media account run by Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign has been repeatedly deceptive. Here we go. Repeatedly deceptive. The at Kamala HQ account, which has more than 1.3 million followers on the X social media platform, formerly known as Twitter, has made a habit of misleadingly clipping and inaccurately captioning video clips to attack former President Donald Trump. Now, this is coming from CNN. And for the most part, CNN has been anti Trump, but now they are fact checking Kamala Harris as well. Thank you for the lovely compliment. Appreciate it, Reed. So they are fact checking Kamala Harris as well. The Harris campaign deploys at Kamala HQ as a kind of irrelevant attack dog, using jocular posts to draw attention to controversial, incorrect, or dubious comments by Trump and his allies. But the account, which the Harris campaign calls its quote official rapid response page, close quote, has itself made inaccurate comments on multiple occasions. So here we go. Now it's Harris's turn. So if you're going to quote somebody, you got to quote them right. Either say everything that they said or don't say anything at all. That's the bottom line. Either say it all or don't say anything at all. So now, here are 8 examples of false or misleading video posts from the account since mid-August, including 3 from the latter part of this week. All of them have previously been highlighted by an anonymous rebuttal account called at Kamala HQ Lies. So the fact that the account is anonymous, it lets me know that it's from the Trump campaign. So when people want to be anonymous, they're afraid of retaliation. Me, personally, I don't care what your comments about me are. I'm not afraid of anything, anyone, or anybody. Know that before you start posting. Pretty soon I'll have my YouTube moderators in full force. Believe that when I tell you. So have your fun while you can. Which itself has more than 268,000 followers. So an August 17 post from at Kamala HQ strongly suggested Trump had gotten confused about what state he was in during an event in Wilkes-Barre, or Wilkes-Barre, whatever they want to call it, Pennsylvania. The post said, quote, Trump, colon, would that be okay, North Carolina? He is in Pennsylvania. It included a 6-second video clip in which Trump said, while pointing to his left, would that be okay, North Carolina? I don't think so, right? The Harris campaign was explicit about its intentions in the version of the post it made on the Instagram at Kamala HQ account saying, quote, Donald Trump is lost and confused, close quote. Well, That's what it said. But Trump was not lost or confused. Really? The full video of the rally shows that earlier in the speech, Trump had pointed to the same spot on his left to acknowledge and then speak to a group of ardent supporters from North Carolina, eventually saying, quote, "Thank you very much, North Carolina," close quote. Later in the moment shown at Kamala HQ, he pointed to these supporters again and referred to them as, quote, "North Carolina," close quote. He had not forgotten he was speaking in Pennsylvania. The Harris campaign declined to comment on this at Kamala HQ post. So, why? Why would they decide not to comment? If you made a mistake, say you made a mistake. If it was wrong, say it was wrong. But you can't exaggerate facts and try to put them off as something misleading. That's called being deceptive. On Thursday, the at Kamala HQ account made a new attempt to suggest that Trump was confused about his location. Its post said, quote, "Trump, colon. Pennsylvania, remember this when you have to go to vote. He is in Arizona," close quote. It included an 8-second clip of Trump saying in a Tucson speech, "So Pennsylvania, remember this when you have to go to vote, okay? Just remember this 2,000% increase. This is small." The Instagram post of this remark, too, was more explicit than the X's post on Instagram. The Harris campaign added text over top of the video that read, quote, "Trump forgets which state he is in again," close quote. But Trump again had not forgotten which state he was in. Wow. The extended footage, you can go look at it yourself, I'm not going to show it here, shows that the Harris campaign clipped out critical context. Trump was talking about immigration, a key topic in Arizona, and had just read a part of his prepared text about how a small Pennsylvania town has experienced a 2% increase in the population of Haitian immigrants under Kamala Harris. He then added, "So Pennsylvania, remember this when you have to go to vote, okay? Just remember this 2,000 increase. This is a small town. All of a sudden, they got thousands of people." Basically, he's talking about black people. So let me just say this. Let me add this to the conundrum here. What is it with this man and his so-called race, his so-called anti-blackness? You don't complain when white people come from other countries into America. Wasn't it him who brought his wife's family over here and made them citizens as soon as he became president? Yes, he did. I think they came from Russia, or wherever they came from. He made them citizens. They're immigrants too. Anybody has a right to come from any country, and if they're accepted, they're accepted. If they're not, they're not. The same thing when Americans go abroad. They're immigrants too when they want to migrate from America to Africa, from America to Sweden, or wherever they want to go. Now back to the text here. One could try to argue it's odd for Trump to make a direct appeal to Pennsylvanians while speaking in Arizona, but Trump's remarks anywhere in the country are broadcast to voters everywhere in the country, and regardless, at Kamala HQ eliminated the context that allowed people to develop an informed opinion on this remark. The Harris campaign once again declined to comment. So a Friday post from at Kamala HQ said, quote, "Trump says nothing was done wrong in Charlottesville in 2017 when neo-Nazis chanted, 'Jews will not replace us,' and killed an innocent woman." The post included a 10-second clip of Trump telling reporters at a Friday event in California, like on Project 2025, "I have no idea about, had nothing to do with me. He didn't correct her. He knew that. Charlottesville, nothing was done wrong." Could this be serious? But the full video of Trump's California comment shows that the Harris campaign deceptively cut the clip right before Trump made clear he was not claiming that neo-Nazis in Charlottesville did nothing wrong, or that the murder of innocent Charlottesville counter-protester Heather Heyer was not wrong. Rather, the full video shows he was arguing that he did nothing wrong with this very fine people on both sides comment in 2017 about the events in Charlottesville, which he has repeatedly insisted was not about white nationalists. That's a lie. That's an outright lie coming out of Donald Trump's mouth. Yes, it was about white nationalism, point blank. Why else would they chant the slogan that they chanted? Why else would a white supremacist run over top of a woman with his car and then back up on her to make sure she was killed? So, rather, so specifically, Trump was complaining that a moderator of the presidential debate on Tuesday, talking about, now listen, David Muir of ABC News did not challenge how Harris described Trump's 2017 comments. We say Harris' debate description of the 2017 comments was fair, but regardless, Trump was not defending murder on Friday. Well, the moderator didn't stop him when he was talking about black people eating dogs down in Springfield either, and eating their dogs and eating their cats and all that other BS that he was talking about. So Trump goes over to his favorite network, Fox, the racist and bigoted network. So here is Trump's full Friday remark in which he invoked various Fox News hosts. I think he corrected me 11 times. Of the 11 times, I don't think he had the right to correct me at all. Didn't correct her once, like on Project 2025. I have no idea about, had nothing to do with me. He didn't correct her. He knew that Charlottesville, nothing was done wrong. All you had to do is read my statement, one more sentence, and you would have seen that Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, Jesse Waters, all of them say, Greg Gutfeld, they all took that and they corrected it many times, but they keep coming with the same lies, like you do, right? Like you keep coming with the same lies over and over and over and over again. You know, telling the same blatant pathological lies about the 2020 election that you lost. Joe Biden defeated you. You know, lawsuits flying all over the place. But you keep lying about it. He keeps lying about the election because that is what his backers want him to do. Deny, deny, deny. Defy, defy, defy. Don't concede. Just keep saying whatever you want to say. And he can't disappoint the billionaire that's supporting him and all these other candidates because then the money won't come into the coffers that they need. So if you think that the lies are going to win the election, y'all gonna really be shocked when black people show up by the millions around the country and vote for Kamala Harris. So defending the at Kamala Harris post, the Harris campaign said in an email, quote, he's saying he did nothing wrong in relation to him saying very fine people who did what is described in the tweet, close quote. There are two problems with this. The post itself did not acknowledge that Trump's nothing wrong comment was about his own previous remarks, and while there is a solid case that his 2017 very fine people comment was about some white nationalists, there's no basis for claiming it was about Hayer's murder in particular, much less that Trump's nothing wrong comment on Friday was not about this murderer. And this murderer justly should be locked in prison for life. On Thursday evening, the at Kamala HQ account posted a 9-second video clip of Senator J.D. Vance. Don't like Senator Vance, could care less about him, but I'll deliver it. Trump's running mate, speaking in an interview, the account wrote, quote, Q, or question, would you consider privatizing veterans' health care? Vance, I think I'd consider it, close quote. But Vance did not actually say, I think I'd consider it. A close listen to the clip reveals Vance actually said, I think I'd consider, and because at Kamala clipped out the critical comments he made after the and the Harris campaign didn't allow people to immediately learn just what Vance said he would consider. The extended Vance quote shows he said he would consider giving veterans greater flexibility to use private health care, but that he does not want to eliminate federal health care provided by the Department of Veteran Affairs, which is basically nothing. Because I know a lot of veterans personally, and they get the worst health care after serving their country. It's terrible. Seems like everybody that goes to the VA hospitals, they die. A public-private combination for veterans care was a general approach taken by President Barack Obama, and then by Trump. It's certainly not without critics, but it's much less contentious than the idea of total privatization. So here's the full Vance quote. I think I'd consider, and Donald Trump was really good at this, doesn't get enough credit for this particular innovation, giving veterans more choice, right? So let's say you're in a rural hospital, your closest VA is 120 miles away. Why force a veteran to drive 2.5 hours to the VA facility when he can get cheaper and good care right in his backyard, right? So I do not think that we ought to open up choice, and optionally for veterans. I think that there is areas where the VA actually works very well. So I wouldn't say get rid of the whole thing. I would say give people more choice. I think you'll save money in the process. You'll also give veterans a lot more optionally, close quote. The Harris campaign defended the at Kamala HQ post. It argued in its email. Vance is suggesting he would consider privatizing VA functions. This is not misleading. Our caption does not say the whole VA health system. But the Harris campaign did not address the caption, consider it, misquote, or explain why it cut the clip before people could hear Vance explain what he would consider. And if the Harris campaign wanted to claim Vance was talking about possibly privatizing certain VA functions, as it said in the email, it could have said that in the post rather than at very least leaving open the impression he was talking about privatizing the whole VA. Vance spokesperson William Martin said the Harris campaign is lying about, kind of like Trump lying, right? Everybody's calling everybody liars. Lying about what Vance and Martin said Vance personally relied on the VA for years after leaving the Marine Corps, that Vance does not even want to privatize VA functions, and that giving veterans more options to voluntarily choose private care cannot be fairly described as privatizing even parts of the VA. But where are the veterans going to get the money from for private care? I mean, you all talk about this choice stuff like people just have money sitting in bank accounts in reserve. How many times they don't have any money at all? Or else if they had the money for private health care, why would they be going to the VA facility to begin with? Make it make sense. Martin said in the full exchange, Senator Vance certainly says he would not privatize the Department of Veteran Affairs. The Kamala Harris account frequently invokes Project 2025, the Heritage Foundation think tank's right-wing policy proposals for the next Republican administration. Project 2025 is not Trump's initiative, and he has said he disagrees with some of his proposals, but he has extensive ties to the initiative. You can read it for yourself. And he does. That's a stipulated fact. You can deny it all you want. An August 30 post from Kamala HQ said Trump says he plans to bring back laws from 100 plus years ago, echoing Project 2025. We don't pass laws like that. They're tough. The post included a 7-second clip of Trump speaking at a rally in Pennsylvania. But the full video of the rally shows Trump was not even talking about Project 2025 or his future plans. Rather, Trump was telling his usual tale about how he supposedly signed a century-old law to give automatic 10-year prison sentences to people who were damaging monuments. Trump's story is false. He didn't actually sign any law on monument damage penalties or impose automatic 10-year sentences. But it's also false that he was echoing Project 2025 or announcing some plan for the next Trump administration. The Harris campaign defended this at Kamala HQ post by arguing that Trump's entire platform is about embracing tough policy of the past on various subjects. Well, that is probably very well true. There's another thin defense. The Post made a certain claim about what Trump was supposedly saying in a specific video included in the post, and Trump wasn't actually saying that. So what the heck is Trump saying? There's a lot here to cover, so I'm going to break this down into several videos. So I'm going to leave this right here for now, and then I'll pick it back up in part 2 of this conversation So always remember, at Tyrone Bowman Live, I just deal with it the way it's supposed to be dealt with. Whether people like it or not, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's not bad. Well, maybe I could go on a little further. A September 5 post from Akamala HQ said, Trump tells his wealthy donors he is going to make his tax handouts for the ultra wealthy permanent and cut their taxes even more. It included a 13-second clip of Trump saying, the fifth pillar of my plan is to make the Trump tax cuts permanent. They are massive tax cuts, biggest ever permanent, and to cut taxes even more. But the full video of the speech shows the at Kamala HQ post cut the video clip right before Trump elaborated on what he meant by cutting taxes even more. The first two policies he mentioned were eliminating taxes on tips and eliminating taxes on Social Security benefits. Policies that, whatever their merits or flaws, would certainly benefit people who are not wealthy. So did this 27 tax cuts, which produced gains on average for people of all income levels, although the wealthy gained most. Also, this is not a speech to wealthy Trump donors alone. It was a speech to the Nonpartisan Economic Club of New York, whose members include a broad array of business executives from the area. Some attendees were wealthy Trump donors, but others were not. The very next day, the Harris campaign used the at Kamala HQ account to tout her own popularity among chief executives. The Harris campaign defended the post in question in part by noting that wealthy Trump donors were in attendance and in part by saying that one of the biggest policy announcements Trump made in the speech was that he plans to try to lower the corporate tax rate from 21% to 15%. A reduction, Trump said, would be solely for companies that make their products in America. The Harris campaign said that, listen, no tax on tips and Social Security were not new. New or not, though, the Kamala HQ clipped out those important words, making Trump's comments on tax cuts sound more focused on the wealthy than they were. Well, really. Well, it seems like rich people get tax cuts all the time. Poor people and middle class people and working everyday people pay more in taxes than wealthy people do. That's a stipulated facts. Well, I'm going to end this video right here. Thanks for watching. This late edition of Tyrone Bowman Live will be back tomorrow morning. So until then, never surrender, never quit.